Hello everyone and welcome back to Code with Beto. In this video, we are going to learn how to create a bottom sheet view with a background blur. And on top of that, we are not going to be using any third-party dependencies. We're going to be using just React Native navigation. Let's see the demo. Here on the right side, you can see the modal, and as you can see, it has this beautiful blur background, and I have the same blur for the bottom view. So as you can see, if I scroll and quickly open, you can see the items that are moving behind this view. Now, because we're going to be using React navigation for this bottom sheet, that means that this bottom sheet is going to be a component that is going to be presented as a new screen, right? So we're going to be using navigation to navigate to this screen, and then we can dismiss and show again, and this is how it looks. Okay, now let's see how this is going to look in Android as well. This is going to be working on Android, and if I scroll here on the Android device, you can see that we have this blur, and this is how this blur looks in Android. It's very light, but it's there. Now let me open, and this is how it looks on Android. Okay. So yeah, if you're interested, guys, in learning how to create this beautiful bottom sheet, let's jump right into it. The first thing that I want to mention, guys, is that we're going to be using a budget body application. As you can see here, this budget body, we created this application in this YouTube channel. So if we go to the Code with Beto website, codewithbeto.dev, by the way, if you want to become a master in React Native or React with TypeScript or GitHub, go and check out the courses that we have here. Let's go to the projects section. And here in the project section, you can see that we have this budget body app, and this is the latest app that I created. You can check out the video if you want to learn how to create this budget body. But at this point, if you are following this tutorial, I will assume that you already are using React navigation in your application, and you are ready to start integrating a new screen, and you are familiar with React navigation, right? In previous videos, I actually created a bottom sheet that was using a Gore Home library, that it's a very popular library for React Native when you are trying to create a bottom sheet. And I just wanted to show you here, guys. I just went to YouTube and Google React Native bottom sheet, and I created this one, the second one, a year ago. And as you can see in that video, if you want to see that one, in that video, we are using the Gore Home bottom sheet library. But actually that integrating that one, it's a little more complicated. So that's why I decided to create this video. And now also using this Gore Home view, it will come with some limitations. For example, you cannot use a blur view for the modal. And in this case, as you can see in the demo, we are able to use blur views as well. Now, the trade-off is that in this case, in the bottom sheet that we are going to build, we cannot set the background as dark. Technically, we could, but it would look bad because of the animation, and we will learn more once we start integrating this feature. Okay, so just FYI, we're gonna be using just React navigation for this tutorial. But if you want to use the Gore Home library, go and check out my video. I will leave a link in the description here if you want to learn more. Now let's go ahead and start with this video. The first thing that I want to do is actually just go to codewithbeto.dev, scroll all the way down into the budget body application, and you'll find the links if you want to see the video, if you want to see the GitHub code, or just download the code. I'll just go to the GitHub, and this will take me to the repo. This is the repo of this application. So let's copy here in the code, and let's copy this link so that we can clone this application. Okay, guys, so here I have my terminal, and the first thing that I want to do is just clone the repo. So I'm going to say git clone and paste the budget body application. Okay. All right, and that was super quick. Now let's cd into this new folder, budget body app, and open this NVS code by running the command code. Alrighty, guys, now the first thing that we need to do is actually install dependencies once we have this application, and we are using yarn, so I'll just run yarn to install dependencies for this application. All right, And that was super quick. All right, and because we're using Expo, I'll just run yarn start to start the server. Now, please notice, guys, that we are using Expo Go here. And I want to actually use development builds, which means we are going to build the native code for our applications, right? So to switch, we need to press S. So I'll just press S in my keyboard. And then now we are using development builds, okay? Now we need to build this application for my, so I'll just go ahead and close this one here. Okay, guys, so now we are running the development, as you can see here. The second thing that I want to do is open a new terminal. And in this terminal, I'll pre-build my application, which means I will create an Android and iOS folder. So I'll just run npx expo pre-build. Okay, and this will ask me which package for Android and which bundle identifier for iOS I want to use. I'll just leave the defaults for now, and this will create the iOS and Android folder on the left, as you can see here. Okay, usually that takes, a couple of seconds, maybe 30 seconds. I'll just exit this terminal, and actually, I think I should be able to just press I, and this will open my simulator and start running the application, as you can see here. All right, and here we have the budget buddy we just cloned, which looks amazing, right? Cool. Now, the next thing that I want to do, guys, before we continue is actually open a new terminal. And in this terminal, I just move this to the left and I'll install some dependencies that we're going to be using. The first one is going to be, so I'll just say Expo install. The first one is going to be Expo Blur. So let's type Expo Blur. And then the second one is going to be Expo Symbols. Expo Symbols will allow us to use the symbols for iOS. And don't worry, we can use a fallback for Android, and we are going to see how to do that in a moment. But Expo Symbols is just like icons that we can use for iOS, if you are not aware of. Then we also need, actually, that's all we need, Expo Blur and Expo Symbols. So I'll just go ahead and hit enter. This will install these dependencies. And just to make sure that everything is working fine, I'll just go ahead and run npx expo pre-build again. Okay, just to make sure that I have everything working fine. And yeah, so I think we can now start building this application. I'll just hide my terminal and let's go to the Explorer. Let's just see, how this layout of the application looks like. It's very simple, actually. We only have one screen called Home. And this is how it looks, right? Basically, it's a very large file that contains a lot of state because we were using SQLite for this application. But don't worry, it's actually just two components. The first one is going to be the transaction summary, which is this, this card that we can see here on the top. And the other component is going to be the home screen, right? So this is a screen. How we are handling the navigation. The navigation is being handled as follows. If we go to the package.json, you'll find the dependencies that we're using for the navigation. So we're using React Navigation Native and Native Stack. Okay, so let's see how this looks here. If I go to my app.tsx, this is where the navigation it's set up. If I scroll down, I have this app. We're just loading some items from the database. And finally, once we finish loading, we have this navigation container. Okay. Inside this navigation container, we have a stack navigator, and then we have a stack screen. So if you have used React Navigation before, this should look pretty familiar. We only have one screen here. And everything else is just for the SQLite provider. And if you want to learn more about this, I would encourage you to go and check out my video and dig into the code if you want to learn more as well. All right, so the first thing that I want to do is actually create a new screen that will be my bottom sheet, right? So let's go here and let's create a new file. And just for, the sake of the simplicity of this course, I'll call this one payment.tsx. Okay, so let's say export default function. And this screen is going to be called payment. Now notice guys that this is a screen, right? This is not a simple view. Well, it will be a view, but it will be handled by React Navigation. So I just say return. And for now, I'll just create a simple view. And inside this view, I will create a text that will say something like, hello, coders. Hit save. And let's now go to the app.tsx and let's just duplicate this stack. Okay, so I just paste this here, and instead of having this component, I will have my payment screen. Okay, and I just copy this name and paste it here. Oops, sorry about that. Payment. Okay, and we are going to be, playing around with the options, but for now, I'll just leave an empty object. This is how it looks. Now let's go ahead and create a button so that we can open this, this bottom sheet. All right, so let's go to the home screen. I'll press Command and click on the home. This will take me to the home screen. And once we are here, we're gonna be using navigation to navigate to the other screen, right? So let's use the navigation hook, use navigation. This is coming from navigation native, right? Okay, now let's use this to navigate to the payment screen. So if I scroll down all the way, maybe we can put it just above the add transaction. Just for now, I will create a button from React Native and add a title, go to payment. Hit save. And now we have the button on the right. And if I press, nothing will happen. But if I add this on press, we can say navigation.navigate, and then we can pass the name of the screen. In this case, will be payment. Okay, so if I hit save and then just go to payment, you can see that now we are navigating to this screen. Everything looks fine. We have this really cool animation, but the presentation is the default one, right? Now, the way we can fix this, the way we can start integrating this bottom sheet is by actually just playing around with the properties or options in this stack, okay? But before I do that, I want to fix this type error, right? React Navigation is complaining because we are trying to navigate to this screen that, we don't know if it exists or no. So to fix that, we can actually just go all the way up and let's add a type, or let's create a type called stack params list. This is going to be equal to, so this stack param list, it's an object that will take these screens that we're going to be handling with navigation. In this case, we know that we have one called payment, and we can define types here, but in this case, we are not going to be passing anything to the routes. So I just say undefined. Okay. Now the way we type this navigation, native stack navigation prop, this one right here. Okay. And this is going to take a generic as well. And then here we can pass the stack parameters list. Okay. And we can also specify which screen we are going to be navigating, or, if I leave this as it is right now and scroll all the way down, you see that the warning is gone. And actually we have autocomplete here. But actually one more thing that you can do here is, add a comma and just specifically say this is for the payment screen if you want. But let's just leave it like that. I think looks simpler, but that's how you can type your routes. Okay, so now we are able to navigate. And the way this is going to work, guys, is like I mentioned before, is actually playing around with the properties of this stack screen. I mean, not properties, but options, right? So this is going to be like a visual trick that we're going to apply. And the first thing that I want to do is change the presentation to be a transparent model. Okay, so if I do this and then go back and go to payment again, you'll see that something is, something looks off. this, we have this payment header, but now I'm stuck in this screen actually. And let's go to the payments and quickly, just for testing, add a button and add a title that says go back. And in here on press, I want to navigate back, right? So let's use again navigation using the use navigation hook. And here I'm going to say navigation dot go back and hit save. Now you can see that we have this button. It's hard to see because the, you know, the modal is transparent, right? But if I go back here, you know, instead of showing this header, the way this is going to work is going to be, you know, by hiding this header. So I'll just say header shown equal to false. And now we are not able to see the header, as you can see. We can see actually at the top, you know, these hello coders, but I'm stuck again. So I'll reload the application. One more thing that I want to do here is actually add an animation, and we can specify animations by saying animation and then passing the animation that we want to do. In this case, I want to slide from bottom and hit save. Okay, and now that's all we need. That's all we need, literally. So if I go to payment, you can see that now we have this modal that is transparent, but the magic or the visual effect is going to live inside this payment screen. So the first thing that I want to do here is just add a style. And I'll use a flex of 1. And just so that we know what's going on, let's add a background color gray. All right. So this is what is happening. We are using a view that is transparent, and I want to keep transparent the most of the screen, but the other part, I want it to be my bottom sheet. So now, you know, we can have any view that we want here, and you'll see how this looks in a moment. So let's actually go ahead and create a blur view. And this blur view is going to take some properties. But before we add these properties, I want to add one more view here, or maybe just leave it like that for now. I'll just add my button inside this blur. Now this blur view is from Expo Blur, as you can see here. And this view takes some properties. The first one is going to be experimental blur method. And we're going to be using this one for Android so that the blur looks good on Android. And the option that you need to select is this one. So dims is blur view. All right. The second one is going to be the intensity of the blur effect. In this case, I'll use 90. And you can see some of the blur on top of this view. Then we can also add a tint. Okay, so the tint that I'm going to be using, it's light, but you can also use dark actually if you want, or you can just play around with all these values that we have here. Okay, just for fun, let's see how dark looks and hit save. And let me remove now this background color now that we know how this is being handled. Okay, and that's the blur. Now, let me put that back and let's actually give some styling to this view. Now, for the simplicity of this tutorial, guys, I will be creating the styles inline, but I would recommend that you put them, you know, somewhere else. First thing that I want to do is give it a height of 50%. Okay, that's my blur. Let me change it back to light. And now what I want to do is put this blur at the bottom of the screen because right now it's at the top. So the way we can do that is by saying position absolute and then saying bottom 0. Okay, now it's at the bottom, as you can see here. And what I want to do now is give it a width of 100%. So I just say width of 100% and hit save. Now check this out, guys. I'm going to remove this background color. And there we go. Now I can go back, go to payment, go back, go to payment, and we have this beautiful bottom sheet with blur effect. But there's a caveat, right? We have this text, and at the end of the day, we are using a full screen modal, but the top of the modal is going to be transparent. So to fix this issue, what I want to do, well, not to fix this issue, but to make it look good, I will create a pressable here. And this pressable comes from React Native, as you can see here. So actually, I put this at the top. And this pressable will have will be just an empty pressable for now. And on press, I want to navigate back. So I'll say navigation dot go back. So what this means is that let me add a style and say background color red. Okay. And now we are not able to see anything, but I also want to have a flex of 1 and hit save. So this is very, I'll say light gray or just gray for now. Okay, that looks better. So what is happening here is that because I'm adding a flex, this will take the entire, the entire screen. But if I press on this blur view, this press won't be registered, right? Because this blur view is covering it. But if I press on top, we will navigate back, okay? Which means if I, again, remove this background, let me remove this background gray and tap outside, that means that we are going to be dismissing this blur view. All right, so let's go back to the payment screen. And basically that's it, guys. Now I want to see how this will look on Android. So let's go ahead and open the terminal. I will create a new terminal and just, actually, I think I can just run this directly by pressing A. Yeah, this will open my Pixel. And here we have it. So it's loading right now. Okay. So I have, some layout things to fix here. But if I go to the payment, you can see that we have this view and then we have the go back. And this works really nice as well with the blur view, as you can see. And looks nice in both Android and iOS. Okay, cool. So now that we know that this is working on Android, let me just move it out of the way. Let me minimize the terminal. And let's continue tweaking our view. Okay, so we have the main functionality, but at the top of this, at the top of this payment sheet, I want to have this button, but I want to name it cancel, right? And I want this button to look the same in both Android and iOS. Right now, we have this very large go back button. So to make it look good in both platforms, I will put this out of the way. We can check it out later. To make it look good in both platforms, I will use a pressable from React Native. And then inside of this, I will create a text that says cancel. Okay. And now it looks like that. So this pressable on press, we are going to navigate back, right? So I'll say navigation, go back. And then I will add a style for this. So I'll just add a color and I will use the blue from iOS, which is 007AFF. And if I hit save, there we go. I want to increase a little bit the font size, so I'll use 17. Great. Now, if you notice, we don't have any padding, so let's go to the blur view, and I will add a padding of 16. Okay, that looks good. Great. So we have our pressable with text. That's great. That's for canceling. And if I go ahead and press this button, you can see that this is working just fine. Cool. So let's continue. After this cancel, what I want to have is a view that will contain, some text. So I'll create a text. And this text, can be anything. In this case, will be lifetime savings, just so that we have something. And I'll add a style for this and say padding top of 16. Okay, and this text will have a style as well. I'll align this to the center, and then font size of 28. I want to have as well, a font weight bold, and hit save. Let's see how that looks. That looks good. Now I'll just add a color gray to this. Okay, and that's how it looks. So that's our text. I want to have another text similar to this one. So I just go ahead and copy this and paste it down here. Let's go down. Instead of this, we will have a quantity in this case. And just for fun, right? So that we know how this is going to look, I will add this number. And this is going to be, instead of bold, 900. And instead of having a color, I want this to be black and a little bigger. So I'll use 32 for the weight. Sorry, for the size. Cool. Now I want a little bit of spacing between these items. So if we go to the container blur view, I'll just add sorry, not that one, but the view, this one right here. So I will add a gap because I want a separation between these items. So I'll add this gap of 10, and this is how it looks. Cool. So this is looking very nice, guys. And the advantage of using React Navigation is that we don't have to install any other library. This is very easy to use. This works with navigation. And yeah, so from here we can add a text. So this text that I want to add after here, it will be just a text that, will have some text that you can use. I'm aligning this to the center. And then I want to have a part that is my website, right? codewithbeto.dev. And I want this to be blue. So if you didn't know, you can actually have a text inside a text, and then you can add styling, different styling to this text, and this is how it looks. Okay, great. Now let's continue. I want to add a really nice button call to action. So let's create a touchable opacity from React Native. Okay, and then here I will add a active opacity of 0.9 and hit save. So inside this touchable opacity, I want to have a text. This text will say something like get premium plus and hit save. There we have it. Now this actually it's going to have a style. So I'll use a font weight of 700 and font size of 17. Hit save. And that's how it looks. I want this text to the center. So let's say align center, hit save. And finally, this text will be white. So I'll use a color white and hit save. Now it's hard to see now, but let's go to the touchable opacity and add a style as well. So for this style, I want a background color black. Okay. And that's how it looks. I want a padding of 10. So we have this nice spacing and border radius of 10 as well. Nice. And finally, margin top of 16 because I want some space from the top. Cool. This is looking really nice, right? And super quickly. Now, finally, let's say that the user, they are not interested in this promotion. They don't want to go to Code with Beto. So let's just add a pressable. And this pressable is going to have a text that says maybe later. And on press, again, we will use navigation.goback. Okay, hit save. Now, of course, we need to add a quick style to this. So I'll say color gray. And then finally, font size of 17 and text aligned to the center. Okay, cool. And finally, this is a good practice. For example, if you are asking the user to buy something or they are about to perform an action that requires a payment, it might be a good idea to have a disclaimer or something like that. So you can say learn more about terms and conditions. And then you can, just have a link so that they can go. Usually you'll see this kind of text with a font size that is small. So in this case, I'll use 12. And it's hard to see sometimes because the color is gray. So let's go ahead and use the color gray. And finally, text align to the center. Okay, and hit save. And that's it, guys. So as you can see, we can create these kind of bottom sheets that look really nice. And the animation is great. Very easily using React navigation. Now, I just want to mention a couple of things before we wrap up this video. The first thing is that this will look really good on any background because we have the blur. And the other thing is that you can use a black for this. So let's actually check that out quickly. Just change the tint of the blur view for a dark. And that's how it looks. The thing is that, if I bring the Android here, it looks good, but we will need to change the letters as well. What I'm saying is that this will work as well in light and dark mode. And let's bring the Android again. This is how it looks at the end of the day in both devices. And we have the animation and looks and works fine with both devices. Now, I just want to mention, guys, that keep in mind that this has some limitations, right? This is not like truly shit native because of the fact that we are not able to put a background color here or make the background a little dark. You could do like a workaround. For example, if you want to have here a background color and then add a black and then add 10 of opacity. And that's how it looks. But in this case, you can go and increase this to 50% if you want, or 60. And then you may be thinking, okay, so I can just come here and say background color white. And now this looks good, right? And I can cancel, but the animation will look awful, right? So if I go back again, you can see that we have this transition, and that doesn't look really good. So if we could fix that, that would be nice. But I don't know how we can do that. Now the other option that you might be thinking is that you can change the presentation instead of instead of transparent modal. Maybe we can use something else. Actually, I don't think so. Maybe changing the animation, like for example, fade. Let's try this one. So this one looks, okay, but we don't have this like sliding up animation, but this is an option as well. And if you see, if I press outside, it will go away, or if I press cancel. But if I press anywhere else, we have this view, right? And this will work just fine. So this is another option. You can play around with the animations. For example, we have this flip, we have this, let's try this flip. Let's see what's going on with this one. Okay, and that looks, a little strange. Let's see what else we have here. We have slide from left or from right. Let's see how that looks. Let's go to the payment. So in this case, slide from left is not working. We can use what else? Slide from bottom, simple push. Let's try this one. Okay. So I guess because we're using transparent modal, the animation will always come by default from the bottom. So I'll just go ahead and say slide from the bottom. But yeah, just so that you know some alternatives and some workarounds that you can do, I would recommend that you maybe just try to use it without this background. I think this looks better, looks cleaner, and just try to use it for confirmations when the user has to press a button. Don't use it for having an input here because this will be hard to handle. especially when the user opens the keyword, right? So for example, if I come here and just add a text input quickly, just to show you, placeholder test and hit save. Let's put my keyword here. You see this won't work. We would need to, you know, add some keyword avoiding view and start fighting with the system. And this would be hard. So I would say just avoid using this like that. Or another option in this case could be just increase the height. Instead of 50, maybe we can use an 80, right? And this is how it looks. And then if we use the keyword, that should be fine. And we still have this nice blur effect. Okay, looks very smooth. We're using navigation. We can also pass parameters when we are navigating to the payment screen. If you need to pass, some parameters, you can do it here as long as you define it in the type. Okay, and that's it, guys. Just wanted to show you this, simple way of creating a bottom sheet using React Navigation Native. Super easy. You don't have to install anything else. And yeah, we have this really nice view. We can use a blur effect and we can add more things on top of this. So I hope you like this video. I hope you learned something new. Don't forget to go to Code with Beto, guys. Also, if you want to check out the code, I will leave the link to Code with Beto here. You can just go to Code with Beto, budget body, check the code. I will also create a new project here for this project. And also, guys, if you want to learn how to do the same thing using the Gore Home bottom sheet, just go and check out my video. It's the second one, the bottom sheet when we replicate the Twitter bottom sheet. It's a really good one if you want to see an alternative of this bottom sheet. Also, if you want to learn more about navigation, we also have this React Native crash course for React Navigation for beginners in the Code with Beto platform as well. Really good, available in both English and Spanish. And yeah, otherwise, thanks for watching, guys. Don't forget to check out the course, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.